Hello again, YouTube. We're in the town that I'm probably going to mispronounce, Chapleau, in Ontario, Canada. We are going to put in service a Kribber Adzer 1050. KKA stands for Knox Kribber Adzer. The purpose of this machine, let me see if I can back up and get a good video of the whole thing. The purpose of this machine is for replacing rail when, well, this, you can't see them, under all this grime and dirt. There's plates, and the weight of the trains passing over a tie, or over the rail, presses the rail into the plate, which presses the plate into a wooden tie. In order to replace that, you actually have to remove the history. That's the term referring to adzing, or grinding out the wood so that a new plate will fit on a fresh, flat surface. Okay. This is the back side of the machine where you enter. This is the front side of the machine where all the work happens. Start on this side. This is a Kribber. It is a big broom reel. You know, we can just open this and take a look on the inside so you can see. There we go. This broom rotates in this direction. Okay. And you put it down. This rail will be removed. You'll put it down and it rotates, and it can actually get all of the dirt and all of the ballast away from the tie, so the cutter head isn't rotating and getting messed up on those surfaces, because it needs to just cut wood. This is CP railroads. They like to add a vise on the back of these. This machine can work forwards or reverse. If you're using left rail or right rail, it doesn't matter. The way a lot of the railroads, the bigger ones especially, like to use them is they like to have two. One set up for left rail, one set up for right rail. This is the motor that spins that broom reel, and this is the coupler, which is actually two sprockets and then something that looks like a double bike chain holding them together. Okay. This is called a venturi. I'll show you the other end of it later, but basically it has a big vacuum tube that sucks up the extra wood shavings and lets them blow out and fall down away from the cutter head so that sparks don't land on all that material and start a fire. These are blocks that you can set up so that your Kribber can fall into the same position every time. This is a water tank. It's meant to hold extra water for sometimes extinguishing flames or just in general washing off the machine, because little wood shavings will settle all over this machine, making it just a big fire hazard. But it's got to be done. These are just toolboxes that just hold the tools. This is a crawler, because when one of the rails is removed, the other side needs to stay on the rail, but this side can crawl on the dirt or ballast or ties or whatever it's on. This is locked up here, and it can unlock and drop down. There are two of them, one in front of and one behind of the cutter head. This is the big suction tube. These are skids that can actually set in front of and behind the cutter head. This cutter head can be adjusted in all sorts of different angles. The different angles so that you get a level cut, no matter if you're in a curve or if you're just on very uneven track that hasn't been tamped in a while. These little hooks are all over the machine. Oh, there's seagulls everywhere. These little hooks are all over around the cutter head and all up and down the machine. there are rubber mats, as you can see right there, that hang all around this area. Okay, some behind there too, some in the front. That's our little water pump. Now, this big suction tube, as I was talking about earlier, goes up. There's a big hydraulic powered fan in there that just sucks all of this wood shavings out from around the cutter head as it's rotating. And it rotates at 3,600 RPM without being under a load. This is the actual cutter head, rounded bits. Yeah, this is a 4-pronged cutter head. It comes in 4, 6, or 8, depending on what the customer wants. Here's the other skid. So these skids move up and down, and you adjust them here. And this block also flips over in case you need extra adjustment for different rail heights. Because once you set it up for whatever rail height you're on, you can just rotate the block to the correct rail height. The cutter head has an automatic greaser. You pump grease in here, and then you have a ball valve over here. And when you open it and turn on the head and you start pumping fresh grease in, that way you pump fresh grease into the bearings as it's running. This cutter head can move up and down, slide in and out. The crawlers can also slide in and out. These are all the hydraulic lines going to everything. So all these air lines for the locks. There's inside the cab. This is new to us. We have started putting a large double cooler. This is dual purpose. If you can see the line of bolts across the front there. This is part of the engine radiator, and this is the hydraulic cooler. This machine runs, it's actually very hard on this little Cummins engine, so it needs extra cooling capacity to keep it from overheating in the summer. As you can see, it's big hoses. And then this is the hydraulics. Here's the second crawler, same as the first, exactly the same as the first. This little grease fitting here is what you use to tighten up the crawlers themselves. These are a little loose, but this machine's brand new. It hasn't been used yet. Still has wheels, travels on wheels. See, the rail sweeps haven't even been set up first. I'm not going to open this Kribber because it is exactly the same as the other. There's one on both ends of the machine. It comes with a Pro heater, which if you've seen any of my other videos and you've heard me talk about an S-bar heater, it is the exact same thing. We're just changing brands. This S-bar heater, this is just a Pro heater, and it is used to preheat the machine, get the coolant warmed up and the hydraulics warmed up on a cold day. You can do that without having the machine running. Here's our batteries. .24-volt system. Def tank, 5-gallon capacity. It's about half full. That's what we sent to our customer at. These mesh screens go on the front of the radiator because all these little wood shavings and wood chips fly around and they just get sucked in through this fan. And you can take this, undo this, and then you can pull this and slide it out and blow it out. It's kind of like a pre-filter for your radiator. Personally, I think every vehicle in the world should have this, because most people don't clean their radiators often enough. This is the QSB 6.7 Cummins with a clean sweep fan. This is air controls that goes down to the fan clutch. This fan can be reversed from a pulling fan to a pushing fan and then back while in operation. And what that does is basically blows out the front of the radiator during operation. Here's our battery master switch. Here's our test ports. Adzer head, control pressure, AC, charge pressure, fuel filter, air filter. Same as in the other machines, we use these same circuit breakers. Sorry, the word was escaping me. We use these same circuit breakers. They work just the same as before. When tripped, they flip out. To reset, just push them back in. 135, 100, and 30. It's on the outside, they're labeled. Emergency pump, cab, which is basically everything, and radio. Focus. Radio is just a 12-volt converter. This on the outer side here is a tow bar. CP requires all their machines to come with a tow bar. That's so that if something happens that this machine breaks down or another machine near it breaks down, come over here. May not be able to get a good video of it. On the bottom of the frame, well, where is it? Oh, see that large black setup there? You hook to that, and then you can extend a bar out and hook to another piece of equipment and tow it. Or be towed by another piece of equipment if need be. There's our pumps. Now this is the same pump setup just about as a regulator. This is the exact same pump as what we put in the regulator for Propel, except this pump does not work Propel, it just works the Adzer head. This is the control pump. This one has an unload valve, which means that when you're not using, you can electronically unload all of the hydraulics with that when you're not using it. There's extra test ports on these for manual testing. These have electronic test ports on them. It can be displayed on the screen. And then the rear is your circulation for your AC and your cooling fan. Here's our Visionaire air conditioner. Same as the one we put on the front of our regulators. If you've seen it in my other video, this is way overpowered for this little tiny cab. Our auxiliary controls. Turntable. Now there's two functions to this turntable. It has up and down, and then with conjunction with this turntable selector valve, when you push the lever in, the turntable will move up and down. When you pull this lever out, now your turntable will move left and right. Your turntable can be moved because the distribution of weight on this machine varies minute by minute depending on how much material is where on the machine and where you are. So sometimes you have to move the turntable to the left or to the right to balance the machine so that you can spin it around. In this machine, the turntable is stored horizontally instead of vertically, so you have to rotate. You have to drop it a little bit and then rotate it in order to get it to touch both rails. And then you pick it up, or you pick the machine up with it by dropping the turntable down. Then you spin the machine around, raise the turntable back up, rotate it again, and then pick it back all the way up. Now while we're down here, this is a guide wheel. There's one in the front, one in the rear. Technically we call them left and right because it's orientated to the operator seat. So those drop down whenever you're going to go off rail. That way the machine doesn't just crawl in whatever direction it wants to crawl in, because if you were to be moving forward, cutting in a left-hand curve, you would just roll down the hill. These are our Danfoss valves. These are not labeled like we do on a regulator. Just have to look in the book to see which ones do what. But you basically have your inlets on this side, return to tank. This one is your left crawler and your right crawler. And you use, on the front of these, let's see if I can get a good video, you use electric coils to power them. And these are your outputs. And then if you need to manually function that valve, you can stick a handle or a 9mm wrench right here. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Right here. I can't turn it by hand, and I don't have a handle at the moment. But you can put a handle there and rotate it up or down, and that'll manually move that valve. Your Adzer up and down. I think this is in and out for the Adzer, and your turntable. And then I don't actually know what that is. Cooling fan, oil cooler. This one only has one output. Okay. These are test port valves. You can control these, or you can flip these valves and test the return functions. This is your air tank. You can pull this cord, bleed the air. Machine hasn't been run, so it has no air in it. This, just like on the regulators, is a filter that we use to filter the air coming into the air conditioner so that you can have clean air and not filled with dirt air. The outside, we have these device locking chart. Shows you where all of the locks are, what they're for. Why won't this thing focus today? Anyway, and then above that is your maintenance, lubrication maintenance chart. Daily, weekly, monthly, every 6 months. And their corresponding numbers, letters. Use grease, engine oil, hydraulic oil, and gear lubricant. Tank capacities, 145 gallons of hydraulics and 150 gallons of fuel. Tanks are over here beside the cab. There's our hydraulic tank. And there's our fuel tank. These are the rubber mats that go around the machine when you're working to help keep debris from flying at a high rate of speed towards a person. Okay, I'm gonna climb. Up here are two of the other hydraulic valves. There's one here and one on the other side of the cab on the other post. And that controls all the other functions. Your crawlers up and down, in and out. Your Adzer up and down, in and out. Your Kribbers up and down, in and out. One turns this fan on. It's a hydraulic motor on top of it. All electrically controlled. And in case you've noticed it before, has an AFEX system. Some of these little red and gray sensors that you see around the machine detect fire. When they detect fire, this system automatically energizes, and all these little silver tubes with open port will actually blow fire extinguishing material all over the machine. There's a bunch right around the Adzer head. There's some facing the turntable because that catches a lot of debris. They're all over the machine. The idea is that it will put out fires. These white strobe lights on the top of the machine are actually for when the Adzer is engaged. Those blink, and a big loud siren wails, lets everybody know I'm about to start doing this thing that will potentially endanger people in the area, and you need to be at least 250 feet away from me. So, hydraulic replenishment pump. You take this hose, put it into a hydraulic tank, turn this on with the key on, and it'll just pull hydraulics into the tank, refill the tank. sight glass with a thermometer inside it. There's our fuel gauge. Now, this is an electric gauge that displays inside the cab, but you can also manually come out and see on the gauge outside. Now, the customer has this locked, so I can't get in the cab right yet. But maybe in a little bit I can get someone here. Here it is inside the cab, at least. All right, found a guy, came and gave us a key. We unlocked the door. Now we can get in the cab. First thing we see is spare parts. It's a spare tube that goes down here on that, or they can use it to cut it up and use it for these little tubes here. So, first thing we see when we look in the cab, you have your guide wheel. This is your right guide wheel, up and down. Kribber up and down. Kribber in and out. Kribber speed, fast and slow, rabbit and turtle, tortoise and hare, whatever. Crawler up and down, crawler in and out, adzer in and out, adzer on and off. And this is protected so you don't accidentally turn it on. This is your adzer control. This puts your skids up and down, and your adzer up and down. Over here we have crawler, speed, and direction. They work together. Then you have crawler auto and manual. In manual, wherever you set that is how fast it crawls. In auto, it'll go with this screen, and I'll show you in a little bit. Your crawlers will not crawl unless it sees enough RPMs out of the cutter head. Meaning if you bog your cutter head down, it'll slow down the machine automatically for you. Then we have this other same controls over here, with the exception of we also have float on and off. Float is for the crawlers. You can make them both go up and down at the same. So you have guide wheel up and down, Kribber up and down, Kribber in and out, Kribber, tortoise and hare, crawler up and down, crawler in and out, float. Radio. Controls enable emergency stop, horn, parking brake, air conditioning. Aphex controller. With this on, you pull the pin, push it down, manually apply fire extinguishing capabilities, and propel to the right, to the left. I'm not going to move this machine because we don't have enough room in front of or behind us. Wipers, left, center, or front and right. Warning buzzer, work lights, area lights, travel lights, left and right. We'll turn all these off for now. Engine start. You're going to hear some buzzes when I turn this on, so I'll wait. Run and idle, increase, decrease, the override, and your def override. This is a CP CSX CN. Use this Aura, Metrum Rail Aura. It detects other equipment in front of and behind you and tells you if you're getting too close. Okay, here's our Pro Heat. As you can see, it's always on. Dust collector, water pump, emergency pump. Your dust collector is that big fan. Okay. Water pump is that water pump. Emergency pump is a hydraulic pump that allows you to move your functions without having the engine running, or if your pump goes out. These are your locks for your left hand crawler, right hand crawler, Adzer, that's that cylinder right in front of us. Kribber, left hand, which I can see it, but you can't really see it. It's behind the hose there. Right hand Kribber, which you can see. See if I can zoom in. That is your right hand Kribber lock. Okay. Now we're going to start it, so prepare for loud noises. Oh, I guess it's not going to buzz at us. Our batteries may be dead. Yeah, Looks like our batteries are dead. Can't even start the machine. How much battery voltage do we have? Let's see if it'll tell us. Oh man, our battery's got like nothing. Alright, I'm gonna have to regroup and come back to this. Well, the gang mechanic showed up, gave us a jump start, so I can go over this with you guys. I missed this earlier. Your turntable, lock and unlock, up and down. If it's locked, the machine can travel. If it's not locked, the machine cannot travel. And we're defrosting fans. So we're gonna come over here, we're gonna enable controls. You can see we now have, let's exit out. Let's go down to hydraulics. We have Adzer head pressure, static. Control pressure, 2,500. Adzer head charge pressure, 329. That's what that's supposed to be at. That pressure is what moves the ability to control this pressure. So now we're going to go over all of our functions. Let's start with crawlers. So if I turn this knob to the left, my crawlers go to the left. Likewise, if I stop it and turn it to the right, they go right. So now we're going to test auto. I turn this on, I crank it up, no movement. Now I'm going to turn on the Adzer head at idle. This is going to start putting pressure to it. We're going to go back to home. It will show us red at 1700 RPM. We're going to go to run. Once we get green, we get control. So these are working as they're supposed to. Now we're going to idle back down. Okay, I'm going to turn this off. There we go. RPM lowering. Alright, that works as it's supposed to. So let's check our crawler float. First we will turn it off. Then I will unlock my left and my right crawler. I'm going to come down here and pick up my crawler. As I pick it up, it will unlock. Then I'm going to go down a little bit. Then I'm going to unlock my right. Got to go up just a little bit. Unlock. Going to go down just a little bit. Now, I'm going to push this one down to the ground and watch this one. Okay, it goes down and it doesn't pick up the other. So now I'm going to turn my crawler float on. And now when I move down on my right, my left should go down. And it does. Okay, now we're going to pick them both back up. And as this one hits the top, this one will come up automatically. So my crawler float's working. Now, they both work up and down. I can relock these. You see, it locked. So let's work our way down. Crawler in and out. Moves in. Moves out. That's good. We're going to do Kribber. I'm just going to have to listen for this. Oh, made a difference. It came on. Let's go high. Oh, it's in high. Okay. So now let's move the Kribber out. That moves out. Move it in. Okay, now I'm going to unlock. Now we're going to go Kribber up. And then down. Uh-oh. Oh, there it goes. Up, and it unlocked, and now it's going down. Okay, that works. Let's go back up. Okay, now we're going to lock it. We're going to make sure it falls in the lock. It's in the lock. We're good to go. And then the guide wheel down. I'm going to drop this one and drop this one, and then I'll physically get out and go check those to make sure that they're down. So we'll work our way back up. Let's do this Kribber up and down. So we unlock it. Now this one we should be able to see it unlock whenever I go up. It unlocked. Goes down, goes up, goes out, goes in, lock it. You can see that it locked. It's locked. And we're going to turn it on low. This crawler up and down, which I checked a minute ago, is working. Up and down. Adzer in and out. It's the last thing over here. We're going to move it out. Put it in. Perfect. Now the last thing we have to check is the skids. This comes off, sits in your hand. Right hand skid goes down. Left hand skid goes down. Now let's unlock our Adzer head. Now when I pick it up, okay, it should go down automatically. And it is. We're going to go up and down a few times like this. Kind of wear some of the paint off of it. Now, if I lift one of these skids, then when I go up, it should stay up. Look, it's working. Everything's working like it's supposed to. I love this. So, now I can move it down myself. Okay. Let's pick it up. Let's lock it. Let's pick it up and down until it locks, and it does. We're good to go. All functions are working as intended. Let's pressurizer. Ooh, yeah. Cold air. We're good. Check the horn. That works. We're going to release our parking brake. Apply our foot pedal brake. And we're going to go forward a little bit. So I'm going to press this side and go forward. Okay. Brakes work. Now I'm going to press the left. We're going to go left. Oh, and we're going to stop. Back right a little bit. I'm going to stop. Reapply the parking brake. Make sure it doesn't move. Yep, we're good. Alright, everything works. It's always nice when everything works. Alright, the door is latched open. So I'm going to pull this cord here. Now I can close the door. We can go through some of this. Let's turn this off so you can hear me. We can go through some of these functions. Start with trouble codes. No engine faults. Let's exit. Let's go into engine. See our water temperature at 176. Oil pressure at 53. 1200 RPMs. Let's run that down to 1000. Hours 20.8, air pressure 109, battery voltage 27.9, fuel 15 to 16%. Okay, now we're going to go settings, hydraulics, control pressure 2500, Adzer head pressure. If I turn the Adzer on, we can see that spike and then come back down. Hydraulic temperature 78 degrees Fahrenheit. We're in Canada. These guys will probably want that set up as metric. Let's see if we can make that happen. Oh, wrong button. 6 degrees Celsius. 80 degrees Celsius. Alright, we're good now. Let's go back to this. Adzer head pressure. Oh, that's in bar. They probably don't want that. We'll have to go back. Change that again. Yep, they still want PSI though. Okay. So I think, go back to engine. I forgot we can press engine again. Get our def levels, def temperature, exhaust temperature. Yeah. Alright, that's everything. Maybe I can get a little bit of footage of this working tonight. They're going to work tonight. So, we'll see how it goes.